Hello, everyone, and welcome to another very special episode of Black Girl Ambition with me, Nia Baxter. As you know, this is your go-to space for community empowerment and practical tips to help you level up in your career and in all aspects of your life. Here, we have real conversations about navigating corporate careers, entrepreneurship, wellness, and Black womanhood. I like to describe Black Girl Ambition as equal parts executive level coffee chat meets sister circle meets motivational masterclass. Black Girl Ambition is not just a podcast, it is a movement. So subscribe to the bi-weekly podcast dropping on Wednesdays. And if you love the mission and the message, you know what to do. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and please share with a friend. Ambitious Black girls, today we're sitting down with Nina, Oduro, and Maame Boakye, the change makers behind Dine Diaspora and Black Women in Food, globally recognized platforms centered in joy, culture, community, and equity. These two women are literally changing food culture from the inside out. What began 11 years ago as intimate supper club gatherings in Washington, D.C. has grown into a global movement. The Dine Diaspora platform that amplifies the stories and innovation of Black diasporan food makers and change makers. Black Women in Food, the awards and online community and summit amplifies and connects and provides resources to Black women who are shaping food culture. Nina and Maame's work spans events, awards, research, and strategic partnerships with brands and institutions, from the James Beard Foundation to Cornell University, all centered in sustainability, inclusion, and representation. In this episode, we'll explore how they first aligned around the shared vision, how they built credibility and momentum in an industry that sidelines Black voices, especially female ones, and how they have leveraged academic frameworks and data-driven models to respond to what their community needs. And also why centering joy, Black joy specifically, is non-negotiable. Nina and Maame, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
So
us.
happy to be here.
So happy to be with you here today. I would love for you to start at the beginning and to understand first, how did you two meet? Maybe you start, Nina.
Man, this is a story that I think both of us can never remember what actually happened. But I'll try to start. I think Maame and I met officially in Ghana.
Okay.
And so both of us were born in Ghana, but raised in various different places. We both lived here in DC, and we were part of a women's organization, a Black women diaspora organization. And we both, basically, our journeys and professional careers took us to Ghana. Maame was working on an amazing experience, an event that brought diasporans together with local folks in Ghana around innovation and entrepreneurship. I was there actually working for the U.S. Embassy. Yes, I had a diplomacy career focus at one time. And as unsexy as that was, Maame's event was so sexy, I had to be there. And that's when we actually met after being connected virtually.
Okay. What was this event, Maame? Now I'm
Yeah,
curious.
wow. So this must have been in 2011.
Okay.
It was an event called Reconnect Ghana. Happened around way before the Return to Ghana, Year of Return movement.
Right.
And it was an event that happened during the holidays to really connect those who were in Ghana with those who were coming back to Ghana for the holidays, to really have a grounding place to get to know each other and build as it relates to like business and careers. And Nina was there. We had heard of each other before because we were part of the same network. And after that event, you know, I knew that I was coming back, and I knew, Nina, you were going to come back to the States at some point too. So I said, once you're back, let's reconnect.
Yeah. And I just say her event was like the precursor to Dine Diaspora.
Oh, it sounds like it.
It's like the
sounds
early
like
days, the formation, that was what her event was like. Yeah.
sounds
I mean, it's
very
not like
much
the
like
party,
that.
but it definitely was with purpose
Right.
and intention around connecting the diaspora.
Right. I love that very much. As someone who has enjoyed Dine Diaspora, I love that very much. So early on, so what was that? You all met in Ghana. There was something about the energy. You said, let's reconnect when we come home back to DC. What was that energy, or maybe that shared vision, that made you want to build something together?
Yeah. So coming back, honestly, we came back to a DC that, I mean, many may say it's similar now,
Yeah.
where there were so many people that were amazing, incredible. DC just gathers people that have such purpose and are driven, but a lot of people kind of just like walk around each other. Everyone's so busy, but so there wasn't a lot of intention around gathering and actually building community. And so that's when we were like, well, let's be the answer. Let's do something to actually help people build connection, build community. And that was like the beginning of the ideation for the supper clubs.
Yeah, we were building for a need for ourselves too, right? I was coming back from grad school, so DC was a new city for me coming back, and really wanted to do something that was just a bit more intentional than the happy hour scene, right? Where people are this is a very transient city, DC is, but just moving towards intentional moments and actually creating something where people can actually sit down and get to know you outside of the noise, the music, the alcohol too. And so just trying to create something that was different and special. And that's what we did.
Yeah, it really sounds like it. And as someone who has been in DC for years, I understand it's just a lot of hustle and bustle, a lot of very driven people, but also very transactional.
Yeah.
They can be very transactional. So you all sound like you were trying to kind of solve that with creating these intentional, curated spaces that center Blackness, the diaspora, Black food and culture.
And I would say absolutely. And I think us centering Blackness, the diaspora was the layer that I think also made it unique, different, but also true to who we are. So coming in, the food aspect, we were very intentional around looking at what food we wanted and why that food was like not very present all around us. Of course, there's several restaurants that were African, but we wanted to create an intentional space that also brought the stories of chefs and people that are actually in the culinary industry into a room that was curated and had purpose and had a goal in mind of building community.
Would you say any of your early experiences, like family experiences, childhood experiences, influenced the space that you sought to build with Dine Diaspora?
I wouldn't necessarily say there was like one catalyst or anything that I can remember as a child, but I would say I just remember growing up how my family would either have parties, literally in the house parties with just like 40-year-old adults. I thought they were so old at the time. And then, it was like the community always gathering at home with food. And as we were, in our prime, those days, it's like, we didn't really have that. Everyone's like living separately, doing their own thing. We're not gathering as much. We're not building those like memories that I had as a child going and witnessing them really connecting. So that kind of reminds me, I was like, how can we build something that's true to us as well?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And honestly, thinking about it now, I wouldn't say that was the intent, but a lot of how you're brought up influences the decisions you make. So even not really knowing it, that was something that was shaping. I think about my family in terms of Sunday afternoons. My parents always had people over.
Me too.
If they weren't cooking themselves or doing something that was potluck, there was always food. There was always community, and kids were welcome to as well, right? And so that really shapes how we create relationships, right? And that are not transactional. And building off of that, I think is just really centered and grounded in what can community look like and how do you want to build that community? And we did that by creating Dine Diaspora first, looking at the signature dinners, and also really centering on the foods that we wanted to explore, but more so enabling chefs to be able to tell their story. And like, we can eloquently say this, but like literally in terms of planning it, it was, let's have a dinner. Oh, great. Who's going to cook? Not any of us. All right. Then who's going to do the food?
We got to find somebody.
We got to find someone.
Simple. Wow.
We got to find someone. Yeah. And we also want to find someone and give them their own agency.
So and let them shine in their own gifts, and that set Mommy off on a journey to go tastings with chefs. She had like the best role.
Yeah. I call myself the chief taste tester.
Your official role, official title, chief taste tester.
But yeah, it's, at that time, starting with Facebook. So really trying to identify who was shaping African diaspora cuisine and doing a spin on it. And what would that look like for us to bring that to the table and have that person tell their story, like give us a 3-course, 4-course meal and guide us through it and tell us why you decided to curate this menu for us and what does it say about you.
Sounds like a very beautiful and unique experience. I have to come.
It's interesting because we've evolved since then, right?
Yes.
Supper clubs were maybe up to 20 people at that time.
Yes.
We did several chefs. But ultimately, we started to sort of want to expand the business. Because when we started, we didn't really know we were building a business. And a lot of people wanted to be involved, right? A lot of people wanted to come. So it's like, you're doing something for 20 people at a time. Who's going to be there?
Right.
It's not that many. So we started to do more. And so the supper clubs, I think, will be coming up in different ways.
Okay.
But not necessarily in the same way it used to happen.
As it used to happen.
Yeah.
We're bringing it back.
In
a different spin.
Yeah.
So how do you all define your collaboration? Because you've been in business together for 11 years. You're also very close, clearly. Like, is it business? Is it sisterhood? Is it both? Like, how do you all define it?
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's family. I think there's no right way, I think, for to collaborate. And I've listened to many entrepreneurs talk about partnership and so many different ways that, you don't need to be friends and you need to be friends and you don't need to, do too much. There's so many mechanisms that you can go through. But for us, really, we truly are friends as well. And I think in this journey and in phases of your life, things change and we're navigating that together all the time and adapting to each other's changes and our pathways. When we started, marriage, mom, being a mom, all these things have now been introduced to our partnership in business and in friendship. And I think things can change in our relationship, but luckily I think it's been strengthened even through the business that we have. So as the business grows, I feel like our relationship also grows.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we're not following any certain framework, right? Like this is how you make a strong business partnership work. But I do know that we are driven by a shared purpose that is bigger than even ourselves, and we're committed to that.
What would you say, in a nutshell, is that shared purpose?
I know, Nina, you'll have your spin on it because we see it from 2 different lenses. I frame that in that purpose and what we've been gifted to do. It's because of our shared gifts, right? And our individualized gifts, but being a dream defender is how I call myself, right? And so looking at that and how it's taken shape and what we've been able to birth, the careers we've been able to birth in people too as well, is like defending those dreams, right? You want to be a chef? You want to be a content creator? You want to scale your business? We've built multiple platforms and avenues to be able to support that and support people along their journey too as well.
Yeah. And I wholeheartedly agree, which is why we're partners. And in my lens, I think our shared purpose is also like being a catalyst for change. Everything we've done since we've started has been unconventional in the way in which people say you're supposed to build a business, the way you're supposed to build a partnership, the way you're supposed to build in the culinary world. I mean, we were 2 people even going into an industry that we weren't originally in.
Right.
And so that being part of how we move is really important to me. So, because we're not in anyone's box and we get to sit and think outside of all the boxes that already exist. And that keeps us innovative. It keeps us on our path, but it also keeps us committed to the idea that we will shift this world and we will leave our mark. And that's really important to us.
I love it so much. So you led very unapologetically with Blackness, right? In an industry that largely caters to white people and white men. I'm curious if you encountered resistance or skepticism in the industry at first around that. of niche?
I can't say we did. I actually think it's the opposite. We witnessed a lot of embracing. A lot of people that were missing that were gravitating towards what we were doing. Finally, we have something. Finally, we can see ourselves. Finally, we have places where we can be amplified, supported, encouraged, where that didn't exist. So it was actually, to me, the opposite was happening, where as soon as we lived in our truth, this is who we are, we're centering Blackness despite what anyone thinks, it actually brought people to us.
And also for just brands and brand collaborations too as well, being able to tap into the audience and the community that we'd grown, right? That was also very important for them, I think it's naturally people can sometimes have their own bias and stick within their own sort of networks. And we provided an easy way to introduce a lot of brands to people who, we identified as just being culturally curious, right? And that looks like people who love travel, who love the arts, who love exploring new foods and cuisines. And that's really been who our audience has been.
And I definitely want to get into more of the brand collaborations and how that's evolved and how you select them and the ones that align with your vision or not. But before that, you all started and you were not in the food industry. Now you squarely consider yourself to be in the food industry. Was there discomfort at any point with saying, I am in the food and beverage industry?
Yeah. It's hard to go into an industry where no one knows you, where you don't have credentials to show, where your introduction is what you've created, not what someone else has provided a pathway for you to insert yourself. So, I mean, for me, there was more insecurity than anything else, because when you're entering into a space like that, you have to boost yourself. And luckily we had each other. Like it's like, well, let's just go. Let's just keep going. Let's, and I think that there were people or places that also, raised an eyebrow. What are they doing? Who are they? Out of their own curiosity, but maybe also apprehension, because so often Black people in communities of color are used for people to elevate themselves or to elevate their personal needs and wants, as opposed to community or whatever they say the larger purpose is. So having that, we didn't want to do that, nor was it what we were about. So as time goes on, people that have those questions, I think, kind of can relax when they see that, look, it's 11 years.
Right.
This is actually something that is real. It's rooted in the mission and the goals, and we can actually begin to support,
I was going to use the word real. Like what you've built is real and intentional and rooted very clearly. So I would imagine that the skepticism would fall away. So when we were talking, Nina, it may have even been a couple of months ago at this point. You were talking about the very intentional and even academic nature of Dine Diaspora and the supper clubs and how they started, how you all chose to model them, select the people who would attend. Like, tell me a little bit more about that.
So I'll do the supper clubs model.
Oh, wow. Let's go back. So typically our supper club was about 18 to 20 people.
Okay.
And it was an invitation only model.
Okay.
And the way that we did that was that if you attended one supper club, you could, as an attendee, you could then extend an invitation to the next event to someone else. So it wasn't really shaped by only our network, but networks of others. And that's how we did the supper clubs.
Yeah. And I would say like that came too, because like the people that came to the first one were like, can we come to the next one? Can we come to this? And we realized, okay, well, our friends are just going to keep coming to this dinner. It doesn't make it very dynamic, though they were exceptional, brilliant people. But it's kind of like, we're going to eat together every single time. So when we started to implement that, it became even more like bigger. Also, people are looking for that opportunity, and the community got bigger. our community was broadening because of that model.
And how has Dine Diaspora evolved since then? You all do so much more now.
So many things. From those dinners came the need or the desire for, like I said, so many people wanted to come to this dinner. You can't fit 18 people, 20 people at every dinner beyond that. So we started to then ideate around how we can expand opportunities. So then we started doing festivals. Then we started to really dig deeper on the actual professionals in the space, the chefs, the culinary entrepreneurs, and began to build experiences around them while ensuring that the community was also served. And so we've had something we call the Chef Studio, which is like a larger dining experience. Outside of that, what else am I missing?
No, Chop Bar is the festival.
Yeah. Then we do the brand marketing campaigns that we ended up doing. We get new projects now where we just get to be creative. We get to leverage the professionals in the space as well as the community we built. They come together, trade shows, creative spaces where food can be centered with culture. That's us.
So you've come very far. You've come very far. I want to talk a little bit about some of the brand partnerships and give me an example of a meaningful one to you and what that has looked like.
Do you want to start with yours?
Maybe one of my faves is when we worked with the World Food Program.
Okay.
And so that one was in particular working with if you know anything about the World Food Program, they are the ones that go in environments where there's a lot of scarcity in food, where there's conflict and people really have nothing left. And they provide food for folks to be able to nourish themselves. So refugee camps, things like that is where they really go. So we worked with them to broaden their reach to more folks outside of those countries that they're in, the diaspora. Okay. So particularly, let's say, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, some of those places that they were in at the time, helping to solve issues of hunger amongst marginalized communities that were in scarcity as far as the issues that they were facing. And so what we did was we worked with them to develop a social media campaign with food influencers from those particular regions that could reach a larger group of people, but also a new audience, a new group that could donate and could get involved. That really resulted in a few influencers that we worked with were able to do recipes, use the ingredients. There's only like 5 ingredients that World Food Program actually sends to these locations. It's like wheat, flour, very basic ingredients. The influencers we worked with developed recipes with those creative recipes that anyone could make that were tied to those regions that we could spread, share, and tell the story of people in places that were food insecure. And that means everything to me. And so the recipes still exist. They're still, circulated. But the purpose around that partnership was really, really something that warms my heart.
It's very meaningful.
Yeah, that's great. And I think we've done a lot of work that is visible, and of course a lot of work that is behind the scenes too as well. In line with this one thing, and I think it was really, really great because I'm just taking it back to COVID when everyone was just trying to figure out what to do. Yeah. And we had a partnership with Meta. And the great thing about that is we were able to, again, leverage some influencers in our communities to be able to really share how they used the Meta platform to scale and grow their individual platforms. And so we had people like Maame Boakye, had Jessica Nabongo there too as well. And of course, like Jessica's travel, touches on food now. Kwame too is a chef, and just really figuring out how they've tapped into platforms that we were all utilizing at that time and really be able to share feedback and relatable tools and tricks that everyone could use too as well. And so, I've loved that partnership. Nina, I love the partnership you had at that time with Afropunk too.
Yeah, COVID times, man.
What was this one?
So it was so lovely. So we had a partnership with Afropunk to do interviews, to talk to folks. The lives. Who didn't love a live
we loved
during
our lives.
COVID? We were all
They
tapped
gave
in.
us something to do.
We need to go
We
back.
loved it.
I'm not COVID, but we need to,
Right.
get back to some lives because I don't want to leave my house anymore and I can't find anything to watch. So, so we got to curate and plan a whole bunch of amazing interviews with folks like Marcus Samuelson, a number of like renowned chefs, and do conversations. We tapped in weekly. We basically had a show with Afropunk every week during COVID, and that was incredible.
Yeah. Those are 3 very different examples.
Yes.
Like very diverse examples of partnering.
We could do anything.
Yeah. Clearly.
But it also shows you how food can be such a thread.
Yes.
And that it's not boxed in. And so we can use food as our storytelling angle, as our mechanism for community, for change. Food can be so many things if leveraged with intention. And that's how we look at it.
Mm-hmm. Are there any partnerships, any brands that have approached you, and you don't have to say the name of the brand, but you've been like, no, it's not aligned. No.
Ooh. I would say, I'm not going to name anything, but I have to say, it wasn't a brand partnership, but we get a lot of like media amplification, like, hey, can we do an interview? We recently got one from a perspective and a lens that we were like, we don't want to talk to you about anything that might be in a conflict with our community. Like, we're scared. But, just not aligned in vision and purpose is just not going to work out.
Is there any advice that you would give founders that want to protect their creative IP when engaging with brands? Because that's also what you all are bringing, right? And so what's been your experience, or what would your advice be around that?
That's a good question.
I probably have a very maybe non-traditional perspective about creativity. One of my mentors, Alexander Smalls, who's also I've worked with on a book, always says to me, Nina, if you've only got one idea, then stay home. Because if you say that idea and someone takes it and does something with it, you are free flowing with the ideas. You are free flowing with your creative, because the brilliance that you bring in the room is not limited to one. And although the infringement on our creative ideas can be so hurtful, exploitative, and demeaning, we win. You will always win because no one can be you. And I appreciate when creatives fight for their creativity to be protected. I think all of those things are necessary. But I truly believe the power of creatives is that there isn't just one idea, that you're so free flowing that someone always wants to be you when you're already on to the next thing.
Yeah. That's great.
If you've only got one idea, stay home.
Stay home.
Mr. Smalls.
Because somebody's going to take it.
Wow.
Somebody's going to take it. It's going to be stolen. Stay home.
Mr. Smalls says stay home.
You can look on Instagram and you be like, oh my gosh, they're doing what I'm doing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stay home. Because you're brilliant enough to do more. The people want to emulate what you're doing because it's brilliant.
Right.
And you've got more. It's not just one. You've got so many.
Yeah. And I mean, do the practical things that you need to do too as well. But I think there's a lot to be said about that, and not to get stuck when you see what you have done on someone else's platform, right? Like really taking that, figuring out if there are any legal ramifications in what you want to do there, but to also continue and keep going evolving, right? Because there are multitudes, right? And there's so much more that you can do. And if you look at Dine Diaspora, if you look at everything that we've built from Dine Diaspora, Black Women in Food, Chop Bar, the many brands that sit between us, it shows that there's much more to come. And if you are innovative and you can tap into that, then there's more that you can build from your one idea.
Your one idea.
Now, I'll have to add something, because I think people that take from you have a scarcity mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think sometimes, and we've had it, people emulating or taking or whatever, we've had it. But when we sit back with it, it's like, we can, it's fine, because this isn't all we've got. We've got something else coming. But that scarcity mindset, they will be stuck and you will not.
Because you have more.
Exactly.
You have more ideas, more creative flow. That is really good and unconventional advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really practical. And you mentioned Maame, Black Women in Food, and I would love for us to transition the conversation there because when we were speaking, Nina, in prep for this conversation, you mentioned that you all realized that despite leading this powerful platform that you all had grown, that your chef roster was male dominated. Right. We still live in a highly patriarchal, male dominated society. And I'm sure that reflects itself in the food industry too. So tell me more about the realization and then the pivot that you all made with Black Women in Food.
Do you want to go? Yep. Well, it's really talking about, and I said this a bit earlier too, in just terms of your own bias and really trying to dig further. And so superficially, what we were seeing, on our platforms were male chefs, right? And so when we were reaching out to chefs to partner with us and work with us on our signature dinners, that's what we saw, right? And then we paused and realized that, hey, we may be part of the problem. And we didn't want to, we wanted to be that, right? And so we had to sit back and think about, so we're not finding women chefs. We know that they're out there. Come on now, we are incredible. So where are we not looking, right? And not to say that we didn't reach out to any, we did, and we would go through the process, and a lot of times it didn't materialize. So that's another segment to address there and what we were addressing with Black Women in Food. But we realized that, let's put this out to the public, right? And let's create something, which ended up being the Black Women in Food Awards. And by creating an award, we were able to put out to the public and ask the public to tell us who are the dope and creative Black women in your networks or that that should be nominated for this award.
Very smart.
And through that forum and platform, that's what birthed the Black Women in Food Awards. That's what birthed the 31-day campaign that we did around Women's History Month every year, honoring and celebrating and amplifying Black women across the food system and telling and sharing their stories. And it also birthed some of the resources that we now have and the programs that we now have that sit under Black Women in Food to amplify and support the careers and the ambitions of Black women across the food system, right? Who are contributing to an equitable and sustainable world, one in which we all need, which will serve everybody in the entire world.
I got chills. Mic drop. What do the kids do? They do this.
The kids
Is
do
it this one?
I don't know if it's this one or this one.
Finger is it?
It's all T. I don't know.
Oh my! So talk to me a little bit about the different components of Black Women in Food. So there's the awards, there's the summit, and then an online community.
Yes. Right? So you've got that right. The awards, Maame just talked about. The summit is our annual event that brings women from across the food industry together, from whether you're a farmer to someone, working on food waste all across, you're there. You can come. And then the online community brings, and it's just a community in general. We have a membership network. So if you join the membership, you have access to different opportunities, job opportunities, things that you'll get first access to, but also networking opportunities and capacity building opportunities as well. And then we also have our research, which is something I've been really excited to have collaborated with Cornell University to dig into the opportunities and challenges that Black women in food face. We had the problem when we were starting this of not having enough data. And so we looked at each other like, well, we're just going to go get data ourselves. There's so much data out there on Black women or just entrepreneurship, particularly on like accessing VC funds or small businesses. But you cannot really translate that particularly to other nuances. So food industry, what's happening, who knows? And so we were using some of that data, but we really recognized the need to dig deeper, to understand our community better and to inform our own programming, even stronger programming with our data.
Both of you approach your work, as I've seen, and as you've just described, actually, with a very like a very data-driven, a very academic lens and approach. Like it's culture and it's community and it's vibes, but it's also data, right?
Yeah.
And I would love, and you mentioned the research partnership that you have with Cornell. I would love for you to describe that a little bit more. And then if there are any particular frameworks, even outside of that, that you all have used, just understanding what those frameworks are that you've kind of anchored on around building your companies.
Yeah. So just, I think the nature of maybe our education and backgrounds has always lent itself to seeking a lot of information. Maybe I'm also a Virgo. I don't know. I just need a lot of information to back myself up when I do something. It's like I'm always ready. Like you can't stop me. Yeah. So I think just by the nature, we've really been inclined to dig at the why. Like just not just do, but there's a reason, there's a why, and there's I think being invested in that. And every event since the first one we've always done a survey. Okay. So for 11 years, we got a whole bunch of data if anyone wants to pay for it. Just to learn, the learning. And that's, to me, is what has allowed us to also be forward thinking and innovative. Like going back to what people are saying, having access to it ourselves that we own, and we leverage that to inform what we're going to do next. Right. And we always say, oh, you ask us why we created something. We'd be like, oh, the people asked for it. So we already know people are going to pay for it. Right. We already know. We know maybe the demographic, what age range that we attract, where they live, who gravitates towards, how they found us. Things like that are really important to, I think, being forward thinking in general. And the rigor of that, I think, translates into this Cornell University partnership. And I think many people probably think, how does that come about? It comes about through networking. Meeting, a remarkable, accomplished professor from Cornell that works on food and beverage research, and talking to her literally for the past year. I've been on phone calls with them monthly. We started with ideation, then we started with, creating what we were going to do, the approach, and then implementing it. All because it was like, there's something here, and there's intention from both sides to create that and to, honestly create change in the industry. This doesn't exist. Why not us?
What do you hope that research partnership teaches the industry, the world? What do you hope to glean from it?
I always say a lot of things starts because we need it. And then because we need it, we hope that it does something for others. We need this research for the work we do. We're already doing work that is transformative. And to continue being transformative, we need these data. We need it to inform the programs that we do, to be anchored in the actual challenges and the potential for growth and opportunities for Black women in food. I believe that should also be how others create their programs. And what I mean by that is actually, in the conversations with Cornell, this is what I said. I want people to come to our report when it's released and identify that, and this is like brands, really. The folks with the capital, the brands, the governments, those creating interventions at the highest scale, to say, oh, it's mentorship that Black women need in this, or it's capital that Black women need, because Black women in food has done the research to tell us from their own voices. That's what I want this to do.
Were you going to say something else?
No, I mean, I think I can speak more to our frameworks and a particular framework that we use too as well that can perhaps support founders. But on the research bit of it, I think 2026 is going to be very exciting, and a lot of work has been done, a lot of rigorous work too as well. And so data has facts, right? It's not emotionally driven. And so it's really important to have the data to drive strategy. And this can support us as well as businesses and organizations be able to drive their strategy.
So in 2026, what is coming? Is it being published in 2026?
Yes. Yeah. So Q1 of 2026 is when the report will be widely available for folks to get their hands on and inform what their work, or just out of curiosity, look out for it. We'll be releasing it.
And I'm very much looking forward to that. I was also involved in a multi-year research study with Wharton, and I know the rigor and the time that it takes to intentionally design a study. So I can only imagine being on a call every month for a year. I'm like, yup. That sounds right. Maame, were you going to speak to some of the frameworks?
Yeah, so we have one particular framework, and I think this really comes in from the lens of, again, serving ourselves as founders, but also recognizing that this is a pain point and challenge that a lot of founders just have, right? You want to be everywhere. You want to network everywhere. You want to figure out where your priorities are, and you don't know where to start. And you don't want to leave feeling exhausted, right?
Right.
And so when you think about intentionally having a strategic plan and doing strategic planning, what does that sort of look like for you? And the framework that we've used for a few years now is just really looking at opportunities in different buckets, right? So there's the bag, there's the stage, and then there's the table, right? And then how does that shape your approach to work and what you want to do, right? And stages, of course, think about being on a big stage. It's having visibility, right? And so what does it look like to plan out your year and thinking about intentional moments or events where you need to show up and your business needs to be there? Do you need to have the microphone, or does your company need to have a big platform opportunity there? And then there's a bag, right? You need to make money. Right. You need to drive revenue into your company, and not all opportunities are revenue generators. So you need to think about the ones that are and will be, and what is going to be your business development strategy to get that, and how. So that's like the other bit, and then there's table, right? How are you getting a seat at a table, or using the table that you're seated at to drive system change? How are you doing that? And what does that look like to make sure that you're getting on a table or utilizing your seat at the table well to do that? That's helping to shape and drive what this industry is going to look like.
Wow.
And when you think about all those three, you think about how each of those play a part in each other. And I think it's just like really thinking intentionally about what that can look like, because you can chase the bag. You can chase the bag, and the bag is good, but you might be missing out on some other opportunities too as well. Same as the stage, right? Maybe you're a founder that is just likes visibility, and visibility is great, but it is not driving revenue into your company, nor is it allowing you to position yourself as a thought leader and policy changer, and a change maker too as well. And so it's really important as you're making those decisions to think about who do you want to be, where do you want to show up, and how do you want your company to be remembered? Like really the legacy that you're leaving and how you show up to do that.
If you're on audio and not watching the video, we're doing the little Gen Z finger. What do you call it?
I don't even know what you call it.
It's T. Okay.
Yeah. And if I'm doing it wrong, my bad, y'all.
It's so much wisdom. Wow. I had never heard that before.
Because we made it up.
Did you all make that up?
Yeah, we made it up. It's trademarked.
It's about the bag, it's about the stage, and it's about the table. When you're building with intentionality, you have to be able to financially sustain yourself. You have to create visibility for what you're building. But then there's also the table of the systems change and the legacy, thinking about the legacy that you are leaving with what you're building. So much wisdom. I love that so much. Truly do. So you all do a lot. I mean, like a whole lot. I think my question to Nina when we were speaking, I was like, so do you do this full time? How, right? Because there's so many different branches and so many different avenues. And I mean, there's just a lot that you all are doing. So I'm curious, I want to get into a little bit of the structure and mechanics of your company. So how big is your team? Dine Diaspora and Black Women in Food. How big is your team, and kind of what are the essential roles that go along to executing this really big vision?
So right now there's three core team members, my and I, and then our program manager. And then during different parts of the year, depending on the event, depending on the contract, we expand. We expand to fit the opportunity. But at the core, we need these three roles to function all year.
Okay.
So right now, at the moment, our core team is expanded to 5. And then we have about 25 additional supports through a committee we have to execute our summit.
Okay.
And that has a lot of moving parts. And then contractors that we may bring on. So there's all these things. So it just depends on the opportunity. So you have to think we have initiatives that we put on, that we have ideated, produce ourselves, and then we have clients that bring us on for opportunity. So client opportunity may allow us, or we might have to hire specific talent just to execute.
Right.
And then for our concrete stuff, we know what's coming every year and we adjust accordingly.
Right. So you mentioned when we were speaking, Nina, that there was a point when you all were growing Dine Diaspora that you hit a wall because you just didn't have enough time. Like, I think you were doing it part-time and you just didn't have the time to invest. At what point did you decide to pursue this full-time? And then what made you confident in your decision to do that? Because that's risky.
There was no confidence. There's no confidence. There's
you had a date.
Yeah, I had a date.
You said I had a date on the calendar.
And it got pushed back a little bit. I think I was like, it's gonna be Juneteenth. Excellent.
Of course it's Juneteenth.
But the reality is there is no confidence. But what was important to me is that there was an opportunity already in place to take me through the year, right? The rest of the year we have this is concrete. And so, but that time I'm able to now put into our work is going to enable us to then multiply this. Because when you have a day job and then you have 2-3 contracts move in and then you're trying to get new ones, you're stuck. You don't have the energy, the time to do that. I think over the years, there could have been many moments where we paused and just thought more about growth. And now we do that more intentionally every year, right? What are we now going to focus on every year? Because if our team stays the core 3, we're always doing something that's taking up everybody's time. So something's got to give. We have to strategize around new areas of opportunity, even innovate. Take time to just be like, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, are people, what are we doing? We have to stay ahead of the curve. And so, but there was never any confidence. There's never any confidence in this. You just do it.
You just do.
And I think you do it with support. There's a group of people, there's a team that is going to help you get to the next step. And that is how I keep moving.
How have your roles evolved over the years? So that the way that you all, and actually not even describing over the years yet, I just want to understand how you all divide your roles and responsibilities. Because you're both co-founders, you're CEO, Nina, you're president, Maame. What does that look like? What's the difference?
It depends on the day.
You said it depends on the day. You keep it fluid.
It depends on, sometimes I'll assign Maame to something. Like, girl, you got to do X, Y, Z by this time. I'll say specifically, let's say, we have a project, a Dine Diaspora project.
Okay.
That's contracted for our own initiatives, let's say, that we're producing a festival. There's more flexibility, but for a contract, we have a set budget. We create actual roles for each other. So I'll be like the prime person. Okay. That means I'm facilitating all conversations with the particular company we're working with. I'm creating the timeline. I'm creating hiring anyone that needs to come on board. And then Maame will have a specific component. A lot of times I'll assign her, hey, you have to review this. You have to review all the contracts. I will assign her, hey, you're in charge of all the photographer stuff. You're in charge of all of these things. But from the onset, we delineate that based on the time that is available to do it. And nothing is ever equal. I think in partnership, I think that's what this leads to. Sometimes she'll do more than me. Sometimes I'll do more than her. Nothing's ever equal.
And just building off of what Nina said too as well, I think it's also important in terms like the division of relationships too as well, right? And what that sort of looks like and in different facets and roles of our work too. And so when it comes to Black Women in Food Summit, which is a big endeavor, and it's really, really funny because people typically think that we have a bigger team than we really do.
And I like that.
Right.
And I think it just speaks to the structure. Like, we are both project managers, so we know how to project manage to the T and create systems for ourselves. And, Nina will always say that she's a Virgo. So all the things that come with Virgoing
it's a verb
here
now.
Honestly, like just balancing each other too. But also we have weekly meetings.
Oh my gosh. For the past 11 years, everybody.
For the past
we meet
11
weekly
years, right? Like, my husband knows, like, you're talking to your work wife. I was like, you sure know? He was like, when you're done talking to your work wife, come talk to me. And I'm like,
he understands.
Yes, you know.
That's funny.
But having weekly meetings, having quarterly meetings too as well, like talking about our books, all of those things is what we do with intention and carve out the roles for ourselves. And so when we're coming to those meetings, when we're whether they're the weekly ones or the quarterly ones, we both know our responsibilities when we're coming to those and the discussions that come out of them.
And I would add to that, like, from day one, even before we knew that there would be 11 years of this, these systems were already in place. So when I say from day one, we were having weekly meetings. It wasn't something we had to adopt because, it's getting more serious or we're getting more work. We've always had weekly meetings.
Been very intentional and very structured from the very beginning.
Yes.
Is what I'm hearing. Because 11 years in partnership is no small feat. And I hear so many people start businesses with their friends or even people who they're not friends with. And it just goes badly. It ends poorly. And so you all have built something that has kept you successful, but also like friends and in sisterhood too.
Yeah.
Which is just really beautiful to see. Like, what advice you were saying in the beginning, like, we did we went against everything, like all the advice. What advice, based on your experience, would you give someone choosing a co-founder? You're like, look for this, or this might be a red flag.
Yeah, that's good. Choose individuals that have skills that will complement yours.
So not the same skill set, but complementary.
Choose an individual that has vision, who's an executor. But if you're not an executor and you're the vision one, that's the balance of the two. But also, and I guess this is more of like the soft thing too as well. It's in any sort of relationship, right? Like, how does this person react to adversity? Like, when things hit a wall, how have you seen this person react? Right? And I say that in maybe friendships. And so maybe you've seen that. It's not like you went to a conference and you're doing like founder match. You can't really balance that. But you may want to date before you commit, right? And so sometimes I'm like, do a project together. Do 2 projects together before you commit to saying, okay, yes, we are now founders of this business. Because you have to see how you work together and especially in adversity, and especially in change. How does that person show up for the business and for you and themselves? Those are important.
Really good advice. How do you two navigate differences in vision? Like,
in vision,
or if you have a conflict Like, how do
I think you just witnessed one in the hallway where Maame was shitting on my idea.
What idea?
No, she wasn't. Well, I was like, something needs to be on this day. And she's like, it needs to be on that day.
Oh, okay.
Just differences in opinions happen all the time.
Yeah.
We it's not necessarily like a huge conflict, but because this is creative work, we're coming to it with a lot of different creative ideas, and we always need to come to one single idea and be aligned. One of the biggest ones is our summit. It's full of creativity.
Yes.
It's dynamic and multifaceted. It's a 3-day event with so many dynamic experiences. I tend to be ideas. Like, I'm just spewing. We set an idea today. Next week, I have a new one. Next week, we can twist the one we have, but we could do it a little bit like this.
Yeah.
And Mom would be like, okay, Nina, let's just stick with this. But I feel like what I love about what Maame can do is it's not just a grounding. It's using like other context to make sure that something is solid. Because I think I can be really big.
You're
and
a pioneer.
And just different is cool to me. Like I like different. I like the nuances of like it's not regular. And it doesn't have to be. It just still needs to be grounded in whatever our intention is enough. But I think opinions. I do graphics for us. And it's emotional for the crew to be
get
like
feedback on your creative idea
every time. So I'll present it and I'll be like, it's not done yet. Don't comment on the graphic, just comment on the content. Knowing that I'm not ready for y'all
I'm not ready for
tell
that.
you your opinion.
Yeah.
But I've gotten more resilient over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just come in with what's logistically feasible.
That sounds very different. I see the compliment.
It's like, well, I've looked at this, had these discussions, and great idea, but we may not be able to execute it in this way. Right. So that's good. And look, if you go on any of our brands and look at our website, like that is the hand of Nina Oduro. If you've seen our boxes, everything design and creative is Nina. And we honor that about her, right? Like that is her gift. And
it's a very beautiful digital experience. Yes,
you
the
so
website, the
Yeah.
IG page, yes.
And so, we honor that with Nina, and then, we take our time in terms of
and I've learned over the years. I
perfecting.
prepare myself for the feedback. I do. But I feel like I get a little defensive in the beginning. They might not know, but I was just like, like I gotta explain this. They don't get it.
It's coming. That's why you're like, drop all your feedback in this
Yes,
spreadsheet.
I have a process now. Just put it in the spreadsheet. Like I have a sheet, put it in there, and then I go to it on my own time when I'm ready to read. And I think someone needs to record my reactions to some of them. Because I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, we're serious.
And then I actually get to work after I've taken them. Like, oh, that is a good idea.
It's a very logical way to interpret and accept feedback. Like based on knowing I'm going to get a little hot. I'm going to get a little defensive. So let me try to take some of the emotion out, but just go, like, don't tell me.
Don't
just
tell
go
me.
put it in.
Put it in my document.
Put it in my document.
And this is like the real things about building a durable and sustainable relationship, right? Know thyself first and figure out your own systems to create a better dynamic.
So I just have a couple more questions for you all. But at first I have to thank you so much for being here. This is a wonderful conversation and good to just meet you two and get to know you all better and be in community and conversation. I would love for you to share a little bit of advice for people that are building, maybe in a new space with a vision that others can't see yet. Because there's always that period when you're building something new, where you see it very clearly, but others don't yet. Like what, you all have probably had that and come through it. What advice do you have for others who are building?
I think we're always going through that actually, because we're always having to create.
Yes.
And everything, that we create is new to the public. And we're always kind of figure, oh, this is something different. This is something new. They don't know it for this. So I feel like that is always also something we grapple with. But if you're in that moment, maybe this is your first time. I hate to be so cliche, but just try. My whole motto about life is you don't know if you don't try. So just leap with whatever you have in here and let it live and manifest in the way that it will. Because if you don't, the biggest thing for me is like, what if I didn't? What if I don't? What if? Just put it out there. Just try. I feel like within my friends group, I'm always like, so-and-so can do this. Come here. We got this. Try. And it's up to them, you know, ultimately. But be around a community that's going to push you to let that thing come out. At least come out. At least let it see what it can do before you talk yourself out of it.
Yeah. I think this really has to do with just your mindset. You have to dance with failure, right? Just dance with the idea of failure and get comfortable with it. Not because you're going to fail, you will not. But even if you do, there's so many lessons that come out of that make your next thing that you do try to do better. We have failed in some of the things that we have done, but what has been birthed through that failure has been greater. Black Women in Food Summit has been birthed through the lessons of failure.
Yes.
And so dance with that a little bit, get comfortable with it, but know that you are going to try your best, and also understand that the journey is lonely because the idea was given to you.
Right.
And so you do not have to, in actuality, yes, you do have to prove this concept to other people because you want to get people to buy into it. We know that. And that's something that will happen and has to happen. But it's at some stage and point too as well, it's only something that you can understand. And so, as Nina said, try.
Just try. What is your vision for the next decade of Black Women in Food, Black Women in Food, and Dine Diaspora?
You're asking some great questions. Every day I sit with the reality of what this world is, and it is dark, but there's also so much light, and that light is birthed within us and what we can do. And so the vision for Dine Diaspora, the vision for all of our brands underneath that too, is continuing to move in hope, continuing to move in the seeds that have been planted within so many people, and making sure that we have the platforms, are advancing the policies, are spearheading innovative things, whatever those may be, to ensure that those elements are birthed, because we all need it. And I keep talking about it because I know we're talking about Black women in food, all of that, but the world needs us.
The world needs us.
And if we go back in history and we see about all the things that were invented by Black women and Black people, right, we will understand that the desires to improve this world has to do with all of us holding hands, having a kumbaya moment, and driving change forward, because we're going to need it. We're going to need it in this ever-changing world where we have to think about sustainability, where we have to think about our water systems, where we have to think about how we are eating and evolving, how we are eating and embracing a whole bunch of other things too as well. So it is really important what we are doing with this work and with our community too as well. So I get excited about the challenges that are ahead and the opportunities and everything that's going to be birthed.
I'll say everything she said is absolutely it. And one thing I'm also really excited about is continuing to bring more young people into our fold. I really want to create a platform and business that young people are a part of. And we've opened the doors to many young people now that are a part of our business. But the passing of that torch is what's next for us and that future that we're building.
I have chills. Those are such great answers. How can my Black Girl Ambition audience support you?
In so many ways. Do we have time, ladies? You know what? It's about being in community. We came here to this platform because of a Black woman that is in community with both of us, with all of us. And that's what I think that's what your audience can do, to continue to refer, to continue to support, to continue to live truly in community, because community is not just for community's sake. Right. It's community for change. And that's how we live. So if you can lean in your gifts to support someone, sometimes it's not all about the dollar bills, but that moment, that conversation that you have can lead to big, big, big opportunities. And I want more of that. I want more conversations. I want more people showing up for each other. And I think that's what we need right now.
Yeah, shout out to Nadia Sasso, who introduced us and is the reason why we're having this conversation today. So 2 other questions for you, one fun, one deep. So the fun one is, I want to understand, what's your favorite dish? Like, what do you like to eat? What's your favorite meal? And also, do you cook or do you just prefer to go out?
Surprise, surprise. I do not want to cook anything for myself or anybody.
Not that surprised.
Okay.
I mean, I thought you were going to say, surprise, surprise, I cook.
Yeah, well, I don't enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
And you know, because we're in the food industry, it's like, you know, people always ask, like, what are you cooking? I'm just like, I'm not. I like to go and support and enjoy and learn, but I don't enjoy the labor of cooking. What is my favorite food today? It's always plantain, fried plantain and beans, the Ghanaian way. I don't have enough of it.
That's good. Do I cook? I do cook. And learning to enjoy it a little bit more. And also I would love, so shout out if you're watching this and you have some cooking lessons, I'd love to support you, and so hit me up for that. And I talk about this, but even my mother, who's an excellent cook, at some point in her life, she went back to take cooking classes, and that even evolved how we were eating at home. And so I'm looking to tap into that. In terms of food, you know, I actually don't eat this regularly. And so I have been craving just simplified jollof rice.
Okay. I do cook that well.
I was wondering if jollof would come
Then
up.
maybe I should come.
I do. I perfected that one during COVID. I stand by that one.
Yes. So that is what I've been. That's what I'm craving right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jollof is so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Which kind?
So
I had the best jollof when I was in Ghana at the Afrofuture Festival. And there was like all the outdoor vendors. And I had my jollof and I was eating it under the Ghanaian moonlight. And that
the
was
vibes.
like, and it was probably, maybe the jollof wasn't even that great, but the vibes, right? Because like that experience, but yes, that's mine.
You have to try Senegalese.
Senegalese jollof. I don't think I've had Senegalese jollof.
It's a must. Yeah. We'll tell you where to go.
Okay.
We'll go with you.
Yes.
There we go.
Even better. Even better. Awesome. So my last question for you is a question I ask all of my guests on this platform. And that is, what is your greatest ambition in life? That could be personal. It could be professional, however you angle that you decide to answer from. But what is your greatest ambition?
I think it goes back to what I said I see as our purpose is, my greatest ambition is to always be a catalyst for change. My greatest ambition is to always fight for those that do not have the either power, the influence, or the opportunity or access to whatever it is they deem as freedom. And that is my greatest ambition. And I think it's taken me a long time to kind of see that clearly in my life. But I know that that's where I want that's what I want my legacy to be. Yeah.
I would say at this point in life, when I think about even just the word ambition, it's for me, it's tied to what am I doing this for? Right. And in the simple form, how I'm thinking about it right now is just like stewarding my gifts well. and making sure that if I'm able to steward my gifts well, it's leaving this world a better place than when I arrived. So that's really important for me.
Thank you so much to both of you again for being here. I truly enjoyed this conversation. That's a wrap, Ambitious Black Girls. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next week, when I join you with another fantastic conversation with a special guest, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and until next time, stay ambitious.
Overzealous when I'm thinking about the cash flow. I never had no handouts, just came natural. I've been testing so much, all these wrestlers nice.